Welcome back to the channel. You join us working on the front bumper. It will be fitted by the end of this video, I promise you. We have filled the back. This is where we left the last video. We've turned it over. We've done some filler on the front, some fiberglass on the front. It's been rubbed down, it's been prepped. There's some pictures of that coming up. And then on to painting and fitting. So once we got it all primed, just gave the bumper a last rub down because there were some areas that felt a little bit rough. Didn't want them to show through the paint. And then once we'd finished rubbing it down, just giving it a little wipe over with some panel wipe degreaser, get rid of any of the loose primer that was left on the surface and get rid of any greasy fingerprints or anything like that before we started painting. Now I got a new camera and I forgot to press record when doing the first coat of the colour, so you'll see that there is paint on the bumper already and I'm just going over it again for a second coat. You'll also see that there's a date stamp in the top left hand corner. I didn't film this in 2023. I thought I'd turned off the date stamp on the camera, but obviously not. Just then gave another light coating in some areas that I'd missed. I checked over with a lamp and I could see that there's a few areas that were slightly in shadow when I was painting, so I went over with a light to see some areas, especially that end where I am now, that was quite dark there, so there's a few bits that were missed. Now, I have never painted a bumper before, so I am so pleased with how this has turned out. I think it's absolutely awesome. I cannot wait to get it polished and then onto the car. At this point, the bumper was so close to being finished, I thought I'd better actually go and find out how to get the front bumper off the car. Now, these two screws here were really rusted in, but as you can see, the car underneath has not been cleaned. That is exactly how we've left it. The underside, other than cobwebs, is actually really quite clean. These screws are very rusty. See those two rusty nuts? There's those two and there's another two on the driver's side holding the bumper to the crash bar. They're so rusty that I've soaked them in WD-40 and I'm going to come back to them a bit later on when I pick up this video again. So we are back a couple of days later. As you can see, the WD-40 has done the trick and it has left these nuts nice and free now. worked my way both sides, 4 nuts in total. It's quite awkward to get to some of them, but we got there in the end. So with the 4 nuts removed, it was time to just go back to those rusty screws in the wheel arches. Once they were out, a case of lifting the bumper off and getting it out of the way. I know I've said it before, but as you can see, once that bumper was off, I've not cleaned this yet. This is how clean the car is. We've been really lucky with finding something that's in such good condition. I took the lights out to get the new bumper on, and again, I haven't wiped this over, I haven't cleaned it, I haven't done anything. So as you can see, there's not the best colour match, unfortunately. Under the lights in the workshop it looked great, but then once we actually put it on the car next to the original panels, I'm quite disappointed with how it turned out, to be honest. It will be a case of probably taking it off again in spring, maybe getting some different paint, or maybe even going to a body shop and asking them to do it properly. This is part of the learning experience for me. Things don't always go how you want them to be, but quite disappointed. We've come this far, we're getting the bumper on, we're going to see what it looks like, because at the end of the day it will be going on there, it just might be painted by someone else. Now, I spent absolutely ages trying to get this light back in. I tried to get the bumper lined up, I tried to get it into the arches. I got so frustrated at this point. I think the colours not matching had added to my frustration, and then things not just going to plan meant that it was a good idea. Put the cover over, put the bonnet down, put the tools down, and come back another day, fresh eyes, fresh mind, and give it another go. So we're back here again, another day. Let's try and get this bumper on the car once and for all. We've got a screw to go in here, lights to go back on, and then we can finally see what it looks like. some reason that turned off. But all I was saying is how much easier it is to fit old headlights in comparison to new car headlights. These 3 bolts, done. So there we have it. The bumper is on. I said it would be by the end of this video, and it is. Not happy with the colour match. I mean, it looked great under those lights, but now we've got it on the car next to the original paint. It's a lot bluer grey. So the idea, I think, will be that we take it to a body shop so they can do a proper job that will actually match. Got fog lights in. Managed to get some indicators. One of my TikTok followers coincidentally sent me those following a post on Facebook. This one unfortunately is broken, but it will do the job for now until I can find another driver's side one. They're not wired yet, but it shouldn't be too difficult to do the indicators. Fog lights, got the switch. The wiring is a little bit of a different scenario. I'm hoping my good friend Aaron is going to do that for me, or at least draw me a wiring diagram so I can do it myself. Wiring is definitely not on my list of talents, but it is on his. So there we go. Join me in the next video when we either do the wiring or maybe tackle something else on the car. Thanks for watching.